Sound check?
Yeah, I haven't heard how it sounds.
Sound check? Testing? Uh-oh. Sound check?
No, I hear it.
You hear it?
Yeah, for sure.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Sound check. I just don't see any activity right here in Zoom.
I definitely heard it.
Okay.
I'm just hearing like a million versions of the thing.
I think I just got confirmation in the chat. Anthony, thank you so much. James, so much. Great. So I guess it's time to get started. All right. You guys are able to hear me. You guys are able to see my screen. And I just turned on my webcam, so we're all good. All right. Let me make this screen a little bit bigger so I can see the chat better. Okay. Okay. All right. So this class is all about web and mobile. How to get your TradeStation on the go and use it wherever you are, whether it is popping up an internet browser and logging into your TradeStation account there, or just carrying your mobile device and accessing your account wherever you are. Okay, so we're going to talk about those two different platforms and how you can use them. Before I get started, let me talk about some announcements and some disclosures that I have to do. All right, keep in mind that every symbol and idea that I talk about in this class is for demonstration purposes only. It is not a recommendation of TradeStation. Active trading is not suitable for everyone. And please, if you want to read more about these disclosures, go to the TradeStation website, scroll all the way to the bottom, and you'll find the links in there. And my colleague, Nico, will also submit a link in the chat, which talks a little bit more about those disclosures. First announcement, the TradeStation Masterclass. This is a perfect time to come here to Florida and join us for a full week of all TradeStation training. The Masterclass is coming up August 5th through the 9th. It's a full week. It's an in-person hands-on event, and we're inviting all TradeStation clients to take this opportunity not only to learn about TradeStation, but also to network with other TradeStation users. And we have prepared an incredible lineup of professional traders that are going to join us, and they're going to share their expertise with everyone in class. So the link to the masterclass is already there in the chat. Click on it so that you can read more details about the class, and it gives you an opportunity to register and what it entails. We also have a special event coming up October 3rd through the 5th. This is in Newport Beach, California. The event is Option Stars and is hosted by 3 experts in the subject: Michael Burke, Sarah Potter, and Larry McMillan. They're going to be hosting this 2.5-day event in California, all related to options. So please mark your calendars, August 5th for the masterclass, October 3rd for the Option Stars. If you cannot make the masterclass right here in Plantation, Florida, we have another masterclass coming up in the city of London, England. So maybe that's a great opportunity to take some time off and travel to the UK. So all those details are right there in the links right there in the chat. So make sure that you click on them to find out more. Okay, let's talk about web trading. So everybody here is aware that we have 3 different platforms. We have the TradeStation Desktop, which is the one you install on your computer, and it launches as a Windows program. But we also have 2 additional platforms that are a little bit more simpler. And one of them runs on the browser. In this case, I have Chrome opened up right here in my Mac. You can pretty much use any internet browser that you prefer. You can pull up, Safari if you're a Mac user. You can pull up Internet Explorer if you prefer to do that, or Firefox. It doesn't matter what internet browser you use. You just have to go to the TradeStation website, tradestation.com. While you're here, you can click on the login button at the top, and it gives you access to your live account and your simulated account. So make sure that you are sure which environment you're connecting to. because it's separated here. So I'm going to go to the simulated because that's where I do all my classes. And it's going to ask me to log in. So this is the web trading, browser-based. The third platform that we're going to take a look at later on in this class is the mobile platform. So we're going to take a look at Android, and we're going to take a look at iOS environments. And I'm going to show you some few things you can do there that are not available on the big desktop platform. By the way, just to clear things out, the desktop is the one that has all the bells and whistles and is the one that is most robust. It runs on the computer. So there's more functionality there than there is on the web trading version or the mobile version. But one thing to keep in mind is that these two platforms that I'm going to show you today are simpler. So if you're looking for a simplified version of TradeStation, maybe this is something that you're going to like. Let me go ahead and pull up my username right here. I'll put in my password and let's log in. Okay, it tells me that I'm already connected somewhere else. That's fine because I'm going to bump them off. It's actually me connected on my office computer using TradeStation. I'm going to use this opportunity to tell everyone that TradeStation only allows one active connection at a time. So if you're connected on your desktop and then you come here and you try to connect to the web trading application, you're going to get exactly this message saying, hey, we noticed that you're already connected somewhere else. Do you want to disconnect that session so that you can log in? I'm going to say yes here. But before I do that, I want to maybe give you a little bit more information on what you can do. Because sometimes if you're using TradeStation, you may want to have your desktop connected. And at the same time, you want to be able to go and run an errand and have your phone and be able to check your orders and your positions and your balances without having your desktop disconnected. Maybe you're running an automated strategy. You want the desktop to continue running. And the only way that you can have both connected simultaneously is by having an additional username and password to TradeStation. Most of you only have one combo. You only have one username and one password. But if you wanted multiple TradeStation platforms to be connected simultaneously, then you need additional username and passwords. And in order to do that, you'd have to talk to our client services department, and they can set you up with one. They'll explain to you if it incurs additional cost, if there's any additional data fees, but you would have to talk to somebody in client services to get this additional login to TradeStation, only if you want multiple platforms to be connected simultaneously. So let me go ahead and click on yes here. It's going to disconnect my desktop, which is fine. And one of the nice things about web trading is that it comes up the same way that I left it the last time I was using it. You know, right now I opened up my web trading experience and it may be a little bit different than the one you're using, but I'm going to show you how you can change the layout and the look of it and make it work for you, which is what matters most. You have to be comfortable with what you're using. Right here on my screen, I have my web trading divided in two. You see that I have a panel here on the left. Hopefully you can see my cursor. And then I have a panel here on the right. The panels in web trading allow you to open up tabs in each panel. So you can see that on the panel on the right, I have 2 tabs, and the panel on the left, I have 3 tabs. So it makes it very, very convenient. The way that you arrange the panels in TradeStation is by going to this button right here on the top. It's called the Layout Manager. I'm going to click on it so you see what happens. And let me turn off my webcam so you can see exactly what I'm referring to. And while I do that, I'll show you a few other buttons up here. So when I click on that button up here, it gives me a Layout Manager, which allows you to split your web trading experience into multiple panels. The one that I have selected is this one, where you have 2 vertical panels. But you can split your screen in multiple panels or more panels if you want to. This is very useful if you have a big screen and you have a very high resolution in your monitor and it allows you to fit a lot of stuff on your screen. Choose the layout that works for you. The one that I have picked is the one that is a 2-panel, simple, so that I can concentrate on the panels and show you more features. Right here on the top, while I'm here, Also, you have settings. You can access the layout manager. You also have a logout button if you want to disconnect your web trading your web trading experience. And there's an inactivity timeout. You know, sometimes you may leave your web trading connected, you walk away from the computer to do something, and you come back and you're disconnected. That's because there's an inactivity timeout. If you're not doing anything on web trading, for security purposes, we'll disconnect you. So this is the way that you can disable that feature, okay? If you want to send feedback, there's a little headset right here. You can suggest a feature, and it'll pull up a dialog allowing you to send suggestions to our product management. And you also have access to our live chat. This live chat, by the way, is customer support. You know, you can open up a live session so you can talk to a person online without having to call. But if you prefer to call, I'm going to have Nico submit the phone numbers right here in the chat so you know how to access or how to contact technical support. You know, those guys there in technical support and gals, they are experts on TradeStation, and they'll help you on anything related to the platform. Okay. Let's see. Thank you, Jar Jar. I see a question by Jorge Castillo. I want to know how to approve get into my account in different PCs. How can I allow it? Again, Jorge, you need to contact client services. They'll help you with an additional login to TradeStation, username and password. It may incur additional charges. That's why I want you to speak to a representative so that you can set this up on your side. Let me go ahead and start my webcam. And let's take a look at the functionality here. So we already said that we have these two panels. The panels in web trading can be maximized. So over here in this panel on the left, notice how there's a maximize little button right here on the top right corner. When you click on it, it covers the whole area. I'm going to use this panel the way that it is so that we can concentrate on the features here. Let me go to quotes for a moment. In the quotes section, or the quotes tab, by the way, if you're missing the quotes tab, you can always open up a new tab by clicking on this little button right after the last tab displayed. When you click on it, it gives you a drop-down menu with all the different tabs that you may open. I believe you can open up to 5 tabs in each one of these panels. So right now I have 3, so I can open up additional ones. I'm using the quotes window, which I think it's already turned on in your web trading experience. And you can add symbols here, remove symbols. So for example, if I want to get rid of my Twitter symbol here, I just click on the X right here on the left, and it removes it. If I want to add it back on, I just type it in inside the symbol box, TWTR. I hit the Enter key, and it adds Twitter to my quotes. If you wanted to add or customize the columns that are here, let's say that I want to remove the bid and the ask and the bid size and the ask size, there's a little gear. You barely see it right there below my webcam. You click on the gear, and it takes you to this dialog to add and remove studies. So let's say, for example, that I want to get rid of the bid, the ask, and notice how I'm clicking on the X's here, the bid size and the ask size. That's information that I really don't want to see. And maybe I come over here and I want to look at the 52-week high, maybe the 52-week low. And I also have a selected group of analysis techniques that you usually use in charting. If you like the functionality that is on the desktop, where you have a radar screen with all your technical indicators, web trading gives you some limited functionality in that respect, and you're able to insert some indicators that we've made available here. Not everything is here. You're not going to see your trading app store indicators in here. You're not going to see anything that you created yourself. So when I say that this web trading experience is a little limited, this is one of the areas where you don't have everything you have on the desktop. So I can come here and say, I want to take a look at, let's say, the average true range. I'm going to add it, and I'm going to click OK. So take a look. It removed all the bid and ask columns that I didn't want. It added the columns that I did want, including the average true range. Now, everybody knows here that average true range uses historical data. And over here on the left-hand side is where we have the data interval. And this is, if you're familiar with radar screen, you know exactly what this does. This actually controls how these indicators that use historical data are going to calculate. And I can change the interval by going here to the little drop down and selecting daily. To this point, I don't think there's an overall setting that you can change all symbols by, but here I can just select one by one. That way, this is using daily bars instead of 5-minute, and the calculation of the ATR right here on the right-hand side is a daily ATR. So for the S&P 500, which is the symbol up here, the average true range is 1877. Now you may be asking, okay, how do I change the parameter of that average true range? I didn't specify how many days back to look at. Okay, again, you have to go to the little gear right here on the top right, find the average true range that you just inserted, and click on this little caret on the right-hand side, this greater than little symbol. It'll give you access to the parameters. And you can see that the ATR length right now is 14. Let's suppose that I want to do a 30-day average, and I just click OK. And notice how it changes the calculation. Now the average true range for the S&P 500, instead of being 18, now it's 2045. So it changes immediately for you. Okay. Let's see. I see a question here from Micon Martin. Could I access it as a foreign person? Micon, yes, we do have a lot of clients that are not in the United States. So if you do have a TradeStation account, most definitely you just use your username and password on web trading. Now, if you don't have a TradeStation account yet, give our client services department a call, and they'll explain to you what's needed in order for you to open up a TradeStation account from abroad. Let's see. Emmanuel is asking, what is the cost or fees for using TradeStation as a personal user? You know, Emmanuel, there's a lot of pricing plans and a lot of promotions that change on a monthly basis. So my recommendation is for you to contact our sales department, and they'll tell you exactly how much does it cost to use TradeStation, which I don't think it's much. I think there's a pricing plan right now where you get TradeStation for free, completely free. And we're having some promotions where you don't get commission charges. So give them a call because they have all the details on pricing. And yes, Jar Jar, thank you for pointing that out. Fees are on our website, so you can always go to the website to look at the fees there. Let's take a look at some other tabs here. My orders tab, it's already there. Notice that you can filter by your queued orders, your open orders, or your filled orders. And if I go to my positions, this will give me a list of every position that I have in this simulated account. You can see that I have Cisco, I have Microsoft, I have some Facebook options, and I have some Twitter options as well. The positions tab right here, it's very convenient because this little symbol that you have on the left-hand side under the column action allows you to do some actions to those positions. So let me click on the little symbol for Microsoft. When I click it, gives you a little menu allowing you to close at market, go to the order bar, or reverse the position. For those that are not familiar with reverse, reverse just means that if you're long, it'll close your long position and take you short very quickly. So here, I'm just going to go to click on Microsoft and say close at market. I'm going to send it, and you can see how the position disappears. I get a little floating window right there at the bottom left, letting me know that the position got filled. We're going to talk a little bit more about trading in a moment, but I just wanted to show you that from the positions list, you have the ability to actually react or act upon any of the positions that are there. Let me open up, or I'm going to restore the size of this panel and pull up a chart here on the left-hand side. Notice that I just clicked on the tab. I already had it. If you want multiple chart windows on a panel, just click on the little piece of tab right here, right after the last tab displayed, and I can open up an additional chart. And whenever there's not enough space here for additional tabs, you'll get this little tab showing you a number 2. That number 2 just lets you know that you have 2 tabs in there. So when I click there, you can see you can select from the menu which tab you want to look at. So whenever you want an additional chart, just click on the little piece of tab and it'll allow you to do that. Let me go ahead and close this chat or this chart, which I'm not going to be using. I'm going to go back to the one that I already opened. You can see that clicking on the symbol on the tab gives you the ability to change the symbol. So if I want to see a chart of Microsoft, I just type the symbol in and it gives me a chart of Microsoft right there. Let's go to Bank of America, BAC, hit enter, and there's the chart of Bank of America. If I want to see a different time frame, notice how it says 5 minute right here on the tab. I'm going to go to a 60 minute. Okay. And on this chart, I have a Bollinger Band and I have an RSI indicator at the bottom. Now you can change those very easily by going to the little gear on the top right. This is you're getting into the habit of always going to the gear to make changes and edits to your tabs. So I'm going to go here to the gear and I'm going to select studies. This gives me the whole menu. So if I want to remove the RSI, I just click on the RSI right here. Maybe I want to see a MACD instead. So I'm going to add it. And let me check the parameters for the MACD. I just click on the little caret. Let me use the defaults, 12, 26, and 9. Notice that you can also change the colors. I'm just going to click OK. And now you can see that I have my Bollinger Bands at the top and I have my MACD at the bottom. So always go in there to change your studies. Go to the gear and then click on studies and you can remove and add studies as you please. In the drawing menu, you don't have all the drawing tools that you have in TradeStation, but here you have trend lines, you have vertical lines, Fibonacci retracements. Pretty much those are all the ones that are listed here, but you can draw them on the chart if you wanted. You can change the style of the chart. You can enable and disable pre and post market by going into sessions. And you can trade directly from the chart. So let's say, for example, that I see Bank of America trading at $30.50. And I want to buy it at $30 down here. Notice what I'm going to do. I'm going to click on the background, hold my mouse button, and I'm going to bring it down to $30. And I'm just going to click on buy right here from the data tips window. I click on buy and notice how I get a confirmation window for 100 shares of Bank of America at 30 limit. Let me go ahead and cancel to see if I can change the quantity. Let me click. I'll drag down to 30. Let me click on this 100. Oh, this is the default quantity. So if I change the default quantity to 1,000, I can also change the duration to GTC if that's the type of order that you send. And then I can see close. And let me try it again. Let me click, drag, 30. Then I click on buy. And now it's an order for 1,000 shares of Bank of America. When I click on send, I get this confirmation right there at the bottom left. But the nice thing is that I also get a blue label right here on the chart. I find that to be very convenient because the blue little label gives you full control over that order and you can move it up and down if you wanted to. So let's say if I wanted to move that to $30.25, which is the midpoint of that Bollinger Band, I just click and drag to $20 or $30.25. And as soon as I release, you see how my chart order moves up to $30.25. So click and drag. It's very simple to do in chart trading. If you click on the blue label and you release, you have these two buttons right there on the blue label. The X allows you to cancel the order, and the CR just means cancel, replace. So you can also do a cancel replace by clicking on the button, and the order will be sent to the trade bar at the top. If you want to trade differently, let me go ahead and change this symbol to Facebook. Okay, I have my chart of Facebook right there. Let's suppose that I want to trade this differently. I know Facebook is trading at 201. We can see the price right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on trade right here at the top. So whenever you want to access the trade bar directly, just click on the trade button or the green button right here on the top. In the trade bar, I have a few things going on. First of all, I want to point out that I have a standard order. Very straightforward. This is one of those order bars that are very intuitive and you know exactly what to do. And over here, you have a second tab that says OCO OSO. So if you want to send a more complex order, you can just click on this drop down and select from the menu. Or you can access the options orders bar right here in the trade bar. Let's do an OCO OSO because I know a lot of you are using them on the TradeStation desktop and you would want to know how to use them right here on web trading. I'm going to do a long order with a bracket. Okay, so let's see if we can do that. I wonder why they didn't create an entry short with a bracket. There's only an entry long with a bracket. I think you can change that. So let me go here to entry long with a bracket. I think that this is a very nice display because it's very visual. You know exactly the relationship between the bracket and the primary order. And if you wanted to use, you know, a short with a bracket, it's just a matter of changing the action here from buy to sell short. So that's probably why they didn't want to clutter the menu. You can go to a long with a bracket and then change the actions here if you want to do the short with a bracket. So here I have Facebook. I'm going to trade. Let's do 100 shares of Facebook. So I change the quantity. I'm going to buy Microsoft. I'm going to buy Facebook at $201. And this is a GTC. My target is going to be 205. And my stop is going to be 199. Notice that I'm just putting in the prices. This is a very way to set up your order. And once I'm done setting my order, I just click on the send orders button. Since my my font here and this application is a little bit bigger than usual, I had to scroll to the right to find the send orders. But I wanted the font to be a little bit bigger so it's easier to see on your screens. So I click on send orders. This is my confirmation. It fits kind of tight right here in this display. And I'm going to disable confirmations for this account. Confirmations sometimes are good because you can double check your order before it goes to the exchange. But in this case, I want to disable it so I don't have to click through it in this demonstration. So I'm going to click on send. And the order bar disappears. But this is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see the orders right here on the chart. So even though I used the trade bar at the top to submit this OCO, I'm able to see the trades right here on the chart. Let me get rid of this MACD so we can see more of this. And let me maximize this chart so you can see more of the chart. The chart has this scroll bar right here at the bottom that allows you to move left and right. And it also has the edges allowing you to increase and decrease the bar spacing. I find that to be very convenient. So again, if you want to make any edits to those orders, it's just a matter of clicking and dragging. And that's very simple to do. I submitted my buy order at 201 and the current price is at 201.37. That's fine. I'm just going to leave it like that. A couple more things that I wanted to show you here in web trading. I already explained that you can click on the little button here to open up new tabs. Let me open up the option chain for a moment. I enter a symbol. Let me bring up options for Bank of America. Okay, I see the strikes right there in the middle, calls on the left, and puts on the right. The functionality here in the options tab in web trading is very similar to the one you find in OptionStation Pro. You know, if you want to trade something, you click on the bid or the ask. The only thing that it's missing, it's all the more advanced features like the analysis and the search. But if you want to trade a vertical, let me see if you can do it with control. So I'm going to click here. Hold down the control key. No, the command key. I know there is a way for you to, let's see. Kind of just went blank here, but I know there's a way for you to continuously add legs to this right here. Notice how as soon as I clicked on the asking price of this 29.5, it sent that call up here. But if I wanted to add more, let's see. Shift? No, it's not shift. Okay, I'm not sure if anybody knows how to do that. Maybe you just have to create the verticals using the spread selector here. But in the meantime, let me see some questions here in the chat. James is asking, is there a way to quickly see the earnings date? Not on web trading. You can see earnings, historical earnings on the desktop version. And we're working on a solution to provide you, upcoming earnings, not built into the platform at this moment, although there's some indicators that you can use that provide you upcoming earnings. Dave is asking, is there a way to show stock splits using the web UI? Every time there's a stock split, TradeStation will automatically adjust the data historically to show you or compensate for that stock split. So you won't see it. I mean, you won't see the price jump or drop based on the split, but the price will be automatically adjusted for you. Jazz is asking, is there a simple step to re-enable confirmations? Yes, on my web trading, I disabled confirmations, but let's say that you want to enable them back on. Just go to settings, I believe. No, not to settings. Yes, go to settings, and in settings, actually I think my screen is covering it, so let me stop my video. Again, settings, and go to app settings. And in app settings, you have your order entry preferences, and here you can see how the confirmations are turned off. It's just a matter of turning those on. Okay, so you have confirmations for the actual orders, and you have confirmations when you drag and drop. Okay, so, and you also have the ability to change the appearance of your web trading application if you wanted to do that. Okay, so if I wanted to trade a vertical here from the option chain, I go to the spread selector, scroll down to vertical, and you can see how it rearranges my strike prices right there in the strike column. It pairs them up. So I have the 29 and the 29.5. If I wanted to trade the 29 and the 30, and you don't see it here, you just have to come up here where it says strike interval or strike int, that's interval, and change that to 2. It'll rearrange your strikes and skip a strike price in between. So now I have the 20 and the 30. If you want to have the 21, the 29 and the 31, then you just have to keep on increasing the interval. I'm going to change it to 4, and now I see the 21 and the 31 if that's a vertical that you're interested in. So use the drop downs up here if you want to load another expiration, if you want to do another spread, it's great to do. Okay, so this is my options order bar. You can always click on the X right here on the top right to hide it. Okay, and then you're back on the view. Let me close the option chain. A lot of the other things that we find here is the matrix. So I'm able to pull up a symbol here like Microsoft, and you can see market depth for Microsoft. So if you're looking for the number of shares that are waiting to get filled on the buy side and the sell side, this is a great view to do that. Right here, we also have access to hot lists. We have access to news. So if I want to see news on Microsoft, I just click here, and this is how the news tab looks for Microsoft. Okay, you get all these nice pictures per article. And if you wanted to read the article, it's just a matter of clicking it, and you get the text for it. Some very nice buttons here to increase the font size if it's a little too small. Okay, perfect. All right. I think it's time for us to switch over to our mobile devices. Joao, I'm not sure what you mean by DOM. D-O-M. So if you give me a little bit more information, I may be able to help you. Let me go ahead and minimize my web trading experience. And right now, I'm showing my 2 environments. DOM trading, or the DOM. Yes, that would be the matrix. I believe that's what you're looking for. Is that what you're referring to? That's what some people call the dome. We call that the matrix. It's exactly the window or the tab that I showed. It's called the matrix, and you can see market depth. Yes. All right, so right here I have my two mobile devices. The one on the left, if you're familiar with the look and feel of the environment, is an Android. And the one on the right is an iPhone. I'm going to show both because I know that a lot of times we have the class split up in the middle by having 50% of people using iOS versus 50% of people using Android. So as an exercise, we have about 30 people connected right here in class, 35 to be exact. I want to know what you're using. So if you're using Android, type in Android. And if you're using iPhone or an iOS, just type in iOS so I can get an idea of how this class is split up. Okay, I'll give you a few seconds to do that while I get my TradeStations logged in. So I'm going to log in right here with my iPhone. And I'm going to log in here on my, let me do this. All right, let me get this out of the screen so that I can then, I'll bring it over again. And of course, my Android is not connected to the internet. Let's see. Let me see if I find. Of course, Nico, you wouldn't know the Wi-Fi.
No, never heard of.
Okay, let's see. Okay, just give me a second. I'm just trying to connect my Android to the internet. So give me just a moment while I do that. It won't take that long. That's something that I forgot to do. And while we're waiting, let me see if I have some questions here. So, okay. I see, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Android. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I guess the iOSs are leading the way here. So it's fine because we're going to show both so that nobody feels left out. And that's why I have the two phones right here. But I had forgotten to connect one of them to the internet. But I'm doing that right now. Hopefully it works. Okay. I guess that worked. Notifications are coming in on my Android device. All right. Perfect. Okay, so we have the two environments here. You can see they're a little bit different. To tell you the truth, I like the way that Android is doing, the list of symbols a little bit more spaced out. They kind of look a little bit bolder. But I use an iPhone, personally. So let's go ahead and take a look. The first time that you log into this mobile experience, you're going to be faced with a list of symbols. I'm not sure much of a list. I think it's just one symbol that it shows when you first open it up. But you can add symbols. Take a look at the top of the application. In iOS, hopefully you can see my mouse, you have a plus here at the top, the same as in the Android. So if I wanted to see Facebook in the list of symbols, which I don't see right now, on my iPhone, I tap on the plus, I type in Facebook, I can select it right there from the search results, and it gets added right there at the bottom of the list. Same thing in Android. I tap on the plus, type in Facebook, it searches, I tap on the name, and it's going to add it at the bottom of the list. From that point, if you want to go into a detailed view of the security, we're going to tap on the symbol. But before I switch over to that detailed view, notice that you can use your finger to go through the different columns that are here. So you have more columns there. Same as in the Android. You know, you tap and scroll, and you can see more columns. You can add different columns if you wanted to do so. So for some reason, I got disconnected. Let's wait and see if it brings it up. Not sure why I was disconnected. That's odd. Okay, let me go ahead and log in again. Okay, so in iOS, if you wanted to add or edit the columns, you tap on the little gear right here on the top right. And that gives you all the columns that are available. You can see that it's limited. It doesn't have, you know, all the technical studies. It doesn't have all the indicators. And that's what I said, that these two platforms, although they're very convenient, it doesn't have all the functionality and everything you find on the TradeStation desktop, which is fine, because maybe you don't want to dedicate, you know, all TradeStation just to mobile. Maybe you do. I know a lot of TradeStation users that only use mobile because they only put in a few trades and follow a couple charts and that's it. So it's up to you which platform you're going to be using. So I'm just going to tap on done here. In Android, since we don't have a little gear, I suppose you have to tap on the little menu right here on the right-hand side. There we go. You have column settings or manage quote lists. If you go to column settings, it gives you a similar menu where you can check, you know, different columns on, or you can rearrange the columns if you want to. I'm just going to tap on cancel here. Okay, so talk about the detail view. I'm going to go into the detail of Facebook. So in iOS, I'm just going to tap on Facebook. And I'm going to do the same thing here in Android. If it's the first time you're using the mobile app, it'll send you to a chart. However, it could be a different view, though, because the app is going to remember what you were looking at before. So when you go to the detail view, it'll go to the exact same type of view that you were looking at. So, but I want you to look at the bottom here in iOS. You have 4 or 5 different tabs. You have Summary, News, Chart, Matrix, and Options. Those same tabs appear in Android, but at the very top. Summary, News, Chart, Matrix, and Options. So depending on which environment you're using, iOS, you look at the bottom. Android, you look at the top. Let's go to the Summary. I'm going to tap on Summary in Android, and I'm going to go to Summary in iOS. Similar, you know, information, just a graphical view of what Facebook is doing at this moment. If I go to News on Android and I go to News on iOS, it'll load up news articles for the symbol that I selected. This is a detailed view of Facebook. I want you to also notice that Facebook shows up here. So if you want to know what symbol is loaded, just look at the tab at the top of your application. If you tab on Facebook up here, let me tap on Facebook on Android. You can see that you get the list of symbols that are in your quotes. So notice that you don't have to go back to the list of symbols to go to a different symbol. You can just tap on the symbol at the very top. The same right here on iOS. I tap it, and this is the symbols or the list of symbols that I'm currently following. All right, so let's get out of there. The next tab over is a chart. We're going to come back to chart in a moment, but it's very, very easy to use. We have the matrix on both environments. Matrix, again, is where you see market depth or level 2, if you want to use that for Facebook. Sometimes, you know, if you load up one of these symbols that are high in price, it's really difficult to follow in the matrix. You know, Facebook is trading at $199, and you can see how the yellow highlight just keeps on jumping up and down. It doesn't give you a chance to see the values. This particular this particular mobile experience for Matrix on this type of symbol is a little difficult. You know, on the desktop version of TradeStation, you have the ability to change the way that the prices are displayed, and the way that the prices go up or down. They don't go up and down by the penny. You can set them so that they go up by a nickel or a dime or a quarter, and that way compress the view. Right here, 1 penny is way too granular, and it doesn't give you a good experience for trading something that is highly priced on a view like this. All right, so, and we have the options view for Facebook. Notice how on the left, Android is going to give us an option chain for Facebook. Sooner or later, I believe it's trying to load. Okay, the one in iOS already loaded. I see the bid and the ask for all the strikes. On the iOS, you have the expirations up here, and you have a drop down to select spreads if you want to trade spreads. Okay, I don't know why there we go. Okay, it's coming through. Okay, I believe it was downloading some updates in the background. That's why it wasn't loading, but it seems like it's there. It's trying to load. Okay, so the feature is there. Now I'm going to go back to a chart because I wanted to show you a couple things there. Charting is very simple to do. You can use your fingers to zoom in and zoom out in a chart. I do it in Android. Same gesture that you use on a picture to zoom in and blow it up. You do the same gesture right here on the chart to increase or decrease the bar spacing, and use the same finger to slide left and right. Okay, both environments do that very nicely, and you can do that on your phone if you want to. On my 2 environments, I have a moving average and I have a volume average. I believe that when you first use the app, you don't have any studies. But if you want to add studies in iPhone, you go to the little gear on the top, and it gives you a menu, and you can add studies. In Android, it's a little different. You do have a gear, but you also have a beaker, which is not in the iOS. So if you're an Android user, you would tap on the beaker, and then you have a list of studies that you can check on or check off. So let me show you some differences here, because on Android, I just have to uncheck the moving average, and I just have to uncheck the volume average and click OK just to get a plain chart. In iOS, you don't remove studies from here, from this gear. What you need to do is you need to tap on the name of the study. So I'm going to tap on moving average 1 line, and I'm going to delete it. Right there, there's a big red delete button. And I can do the same thing for volume average. I'm going to tap on the name of the study, and I'm going to delete it. You can trade directly from this chart, the same way that we did it on the web trading experience. This is very simple. Let's say that I want to buy Facebook at 195. All I have to do is tap once on the background and then use my finger to try to put my order at 195. It's going to be a little bit challenging given the detail that is in the price scale, but you can always, edit the order if you need to. Again, on the iOS, I tap once, I get the data tips window, and I try to set my order at 195. Sometimes, as I said before, it's going to be challenging, but you'll have an opportunity to change it before you place the order. So I'm going to tap on that trade at 195.08 on the iOS, and I'm going to tap on the trade at 195.02 in the Android. Very similar. See how they both look very similar? So I'm going to switch the price. I'm going to try to adjust the price so it's 195 even on both environments. 195 even. And I'm just going to make sure that I have the same settings for everything. Let me change the duration to a GTC. GTC, it's a good till cancel. And I'm going to buy this. Buy this in one account, buy this on the other account. I'm going to click yes on the confirmation. I get an order status result. I say okay and okay. And take a look. The chart displays the order for me. That is something very handy because as I showed you on the web trading application, you have the ability to tap on that blue label and move your order to a different place, a different location. So if you want to move the order to maybe closer to where the price action is, we can do it. Now let's go ahead and show you some other things. Let me take some of the questions here in the chat. Grace is saying, I'm a new trader and need better understanding of the open P&L, total cost, and market value. Can you please explain these? Let's do something, Grace. I do an Ask the Experts right after this class. We can go into a little bit more detail about the differences between those three calculations. But let's continue on the mobile presentation. And again, I do an Ask the Experts on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 12 noon. Perfect opportunity to ask questions related to anything on the platform. So hopefully I can see you there, Grace, and you can then submit your question again and I can answer it live. Joao is asking, does this platform have the DOM tool to operate? Can you talk about it? Yes, the platform I just showed it is the Matrix. Notice that at the bottom you have the Matrix button, and over here on the top we have the Matrix as well. Dave is asking, in the iPhone app, I can see the account balances, but I don't see the same menu option in the iPad version. Is there a way to see that in the iPad app? Good question, Dave. And if you're an iOS user, which what Dave is talking about is that when you install TradeStation Mobile on an iPad, the experience is different than what you find in the phone and the actual mobile device. So I'll show you how you can do that. I think in the iPad version, you have to go to the Trade Manager, which the mobile device doesn't have. So I know there's a menu towards the top left of the iPad allowing you to access the Trade Manager. And once you are in the Trade Manager, there's some sort of a drop down that allows you to go to balances. So it's a little bit different. Okay, so check that out. The orders are there. So let's go ahead and it should give you a little bit more information on what you can do. First of all, let's go ahead and change the interval of the charts. I'm going to go to a 60-minute chart. Everybody sees that at the bottom of the chart, we have some minute interval by numbers. So I can tap on the 60M to load a 60-minute chart. And I can tap on the 60-minute on the Android to see a 60-minute chart. Let me condense the chart view here. All right. That is going to start loading some data. And notice how if the order is out of view, it'll say one order and you'll see a label right there towards the bottom. So it's I put in the order a little bit too at 195. It's currently trading at 199. Let's go ahead and push it up a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch the chart to a daily interval. And this is a good exercise because if I look at Android, right here on the left-hand side, I have a D right below, which I know it's daily. So if I tap on the D, it gives me a daily chart. But if you look on iOS, I don't see the D. But you do see a little clock right here on the right-hand side, allowing you to access more data intervals. So if I tap there, I have this menu where I can select daily. Okay, and that does it. If you want to change the intervals that are right there at the bottom, tap on the clock, and then you can tap on the little pencil to rearrange the way that they're displayed at the bottom of the chart. That feature is also available here in Android. I just tap on the little clock, and I'm able to move those intervals up and down depending on which ones are the ones you use the most. All right, so let's go ahead and change that order. I'm gonna change it. So let me go ahead and tap on the blue. Notice how as soon as you tap on the blue, it goes into a replace mode. And I'm going to replace the price of this order to 198 and replace the order. It reloads. And now my order is closer to the current action. I'm going to do the same thing on Android. I'm going to tap on the blue. It gives me a replace order dialog. I'm going to change the price here to $198 and tap on replace order. Okay. Now, if I go into a 5 or a 60-minute chart and I compress the chart view, I still don't see it. It's just that sometimes if you don't have enough space to display the order, you won't see it. Now I see it in a 60-minute chart. I just have to scroll back a little bit. There we go. That's where my order is. So sometimes it's just a matter of playing around with the spacing and the interval and making sure that the order is there. But this supports click and drag or tap and drag to change the order to a different location. Let me show you some other things here that I'm pretty sure you're going to appreciate. Let's see. Okay. Trading on the matrix, which is something that Joao is asking about, it's simple. Let me go to the matrix. As I said before, matrix for Facebook, it's a little bit challenging, so I'm not going to trade Facebook right here in the app. I would not recommend it because of the spacing. What's that? Yes, it's very busy. It's exactly correct. It's really hard, to pinpoint the price that you want to trade it at. So let's go to something that it's that it's lower in price, and it doesn't move as much as Facebook. So I'm going to tap on the symbol on the top, and let me bring up Bank of America. Same thing here in Android. Bank of America. So let's suppose I see the price there. It's trading at $30.59. Maybe I want to improve my entry, and I'm going to trade it at $30.55. So on my Android, I just have to click on the blue side. This is very similar to the matrix on the desktop version of TradeStation. You click on the blue to buy, you click on the red to sell. So if I click on the blue at $30.55, it gives me this order ticket, and I'm just going to tap on buy right there at the bottom. So when it goes back to the matrix, you can see your order sitting right there. If I do it right here in iOS, same thing. I'm going to tap on the blue for $30.55, and I'm just going to tap on buy. And the order's sitting there, as you can see. Now, I know that recently they added tap and drag on the matrix. So if you want it to be a little bit closer, let's say that I want to increase my bid a couple pennies. I'm going to tap on my order. No, it doesn't do it. So what you need to do is just tap on the order and then increase a couple pennies and replace the order. I was not doing it right. So what you need to do, if you want to increase your order by a couple pennies, just tap on the blue little box, increase the price by a couple pennies, and replace the order. Will do the trick for you. Okay? All right. Let's see. Are you planning on making it possible to roll multi-leg options trade, vertical spreads, etc.? Right now, as I see it, you have to roll one leg at a time. Anders, it's a good question. And I know that we have been making some improvements on rolling multiple leg options. I believe we allow you to do a vertical or a two-legged option, but not an iron condor. So that's a question that we can probably take in the Ask the Experts session when I have the desktop open, and we can test, rolling a vertical to see what options I get. Okay, so that's a good question. We're almost over here in this class. Before I end the class, I also want to tell you about some alert settings right here on the mobile device, because I think that this feature is what sets the mobile device apart from any other platform of TradeStation. The ability to set up an alert and be alerted anywhere you are, even if the application is not open. So whenever you get a chance, click on the menu or the main menu of the app. I just got filled. Click on the main menu right here on the top. And right here in Android, I have to go back to access the menu. This menu on both environments give you access to quotes, to hot lists, to the orders, positions, and balances. And notice how there's an alert section in there. If I go to alerts, you can set up alerts on price, volume, percent change, or any of those quotes and get alerted when the criteria happens. The app doesn't have to be open. What will happen is that TradeStation sends a push notification to your phone. It's like getting a text message, or the notification system of your phone will give you the information that you're looking for. So let's suppose that I want to be alerted when Facebook, I'm going to type in Facebook, is trading below, and I'm going to type in the price in there, 198. And I'm going to tap on create right there on the top right. And there's my alert. If I want to do it there on the Android, I just tap on plus. I type in the symbol, Facebook. And I say, if it's trading less than or equal to 198, I want to be alerted. I just tap OK. And the alert is created. So you can see how the look and feel is a little bit different. But that alert that I just created, allows me to be anywhere. And whenever it happens, we'll monitor the price activity for Facebook. And whenever it happens, we'll send you a push notification letting you know, hey, Facebook just dropped below 198. And you can then open up the app to see if you want to act accordingly. All right, so this is the end of the class. I want to end it here because we ran out of time. But I want to invite you to my follow-up class, which is in 30 minutes. We're going to do Ask the Experts, and you can ask me any questions about the TradeStation desktop. So I'm going to shut down this laptop, maybe pull up my desktop, and you can join me at 12 p.m. for any questions. It's an open session, so I really just wait until somebody asks a question, and that's what drives the content of the class. I want to remind everyone about our Option Stars event. If you trade options, this is something you don't want to miss, October 3rd through the 5th. And also our TradeStation Masterclass coming up August 5th through the 9th. The links are there in the chat, so make sure you check those out. And I want to appreciate the time that you spent here with me. Thank you, everyone, and have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.